Wow. Look at this. Oh, well, I am so glad to see you all here for our first meeting. Who would have thought that a support group for romantics is just what we all needed? So welcome. If you haven't already, please help yourself to another cookie or get something to drink. If you like, just make yourself comfortable. My name is Lucy, and well, this is my home. And well, this support group is more than just support. It is a safe place for us to be honest and express how we really feel. We are here to be a comfort and be there for people when it may be a little embarrassing to share something. I know it was a little embarrassing for me to want to start this group. But seeing you all here, it's such an encouragement. I am so relieved and gratified that others feel the same way as I do. So welcome. Okay, I'll start. I'm a little nervous. There are so many of you. I feel out of date. I'm an anachronism. I love in black and white. And by that I don't mean right and wrong, I mean, well, I was raised watching Turner Classic Movies. You know, Casablanca. How many of you have seen Casablanca? Oh, my goodness. Okay. Well, how about A Star is Born with Judy Garland?
Oh.
Okay. Still good. Very good. Well, in any case, somehow it feels like I'm the only one who's stuck in the past. You know, subtlety, chivalry. I try to be chill. A hipster, or whatever it is that we're called now, but I'm not. It was made very clear to me yesterday when I was closing up early at work. Well, I guess I should start with something that bothered me. Let me catch well up first. Before you all arrived, I was on the phone with James, a guy I was seeing. We were arguing about Thursday night. You see, I work at a bar on 43rd and 8th, and Thursday nights were all about this experience that I created. I called it a night back in time. It took forever to get my manager to agree to let me try the idea. And, well, I spent a lot of money on things, but just because I wanted it to be authentic, you know, I bought a vintage, unidirectional 1939 Elvis microphone, which was not cheap. Spent 3 days behind an old light board trying to create the right atmosphere. I even hired a pianist to play while I sang the classics. I put a whole show together. Imagine. Well, actually, can you close your eyes? Oh, come on, close your eyes. I'll close my eyes. Okay. Imagine. You walk down a flight of stairs into a dimly lit room. It's smoky, and you hear, "Hold me close and hold me fast, the magic spell you cast, this is La Vie en Rose." Or, "Smile though your heart is aching, smile even though it's breaking." And he was supposed to come, James. He was coming and bringing 10 of his friends because he said he would. It was a big thing, you know. The continuation of this night depended on it. It got to be 10 till 7, which was when I was supposed to sing, and I received a text message from him that said, "Having a few beers with the guys, see you at 10. So I wrote back, "But I'm supposed to sing in 10 minutes. And then he wrote back, "Whoops, forgot." He forgot? How can he forget something so important to address again. Not sure why I did that. Part of me hoped he was close by. But no. I went up, sang to an almost empty room, and came back to another text that said, sorry. I told the pianist to go home, and as I was cleaning up, my manager pulled me to the side and pointed to the empty room, and then proceeded to tell me that Thursday nights were going to become electronica night. I did not want to text him or call him. I wanted to see if he would take the initiative to call me. He never did. I had to break up with him. It seemed like he wasn't really bothered that I was so mad about it. I had to say something. If I didn't, it would just go unnoticed and nothing would change, and the past will be forgotten. I mean, that's not a man. A man is chivalrous, not craven. Not a coward who hides behind a text message. I mean, why couldn't he have just picked up the phone and talked to me? I miss talking on the phone. It was a big deal if the boy called. Now it's a big deal to get sent a couple of words. Is calling someone that much of an inconvenience? Has the world become so lazy that it's just easier to text instead of having actual human interaction? You know, I thought I was the only one that was upset by this. But today I read an article in the New York Times, and the writer described how the evolution of these smartphones may make navigating our social lives easier, but they're turning us into ill-mannered flakes. It also said that people hide behind email and text messages to cancel appointments and do things that feel uncomfortable to do in person. That's exactly what James did. He didn't want to confront me about forgetting, and so he texted. It's really unfortunate, because I like James. He had stubble and a leather jacket. Okay, he reminded me of James Dean. I wanted him to be the rebel, and I would be his cause. Which, by the way, is a great example, Rebel Without a Cause, is a great example of one of those movies where two people just fall head over heels into this profound, life-altering romance in what feels like a second. Everything was so much slower back then, and private. Now, if you're not telling Facebook what you're doing, you're posting a picture of it to the Instagram. I can't help but feel misplaced. I'm like the one puzzle piece you find that doesn't fit in anywhere. It's because it's from a puzzle you sold at a garage sale years ago. My point is, has classic romance gone with the wind? Or frankly, does no one give a damn? I want love, just like all of you. Just a different kind of love. I just want something timeless. A love where I don't have to feel like I'm asking too much. I mean, ladies, am I the only one who kind of thinks it would be nice if a man would still stand when a woman leaves a table or enters a room? Right? Or are my standards too high? No. I don't know, man. Are they so high that no man wants to meet my expectations, and that's why I'm alone? I mean, I know these movies aren't real. I know they're... But it's the behavior. Isn't it just respect? I do not want to be driving both of us on a date. How are you going to take me to a nice dinner if you can't even afford your own movie ticket? And why must I feel pressured to show more skin in my attire? I'm not going to the beach. I know, I might sound high maintenance, but I'm not. I'm simple. Look at my phone. You know what I like about my phone? It works great, and it gets the job done. Maybe technologically behind, but it's not a distraction. I've definitely checked out the other side of the fence. I did buy an iPhone once in my journey into the 21st century. I did. I also joined an online dating website, which is where I met Phil. Phil seemed so interested in me, enough that we chatted online for hours talking about everything and anything. That was new to me, but I did it. Phil's profile was very manly-esque. He liked sports, television, meeting women, and his ultimate love was of cars. Now, I was never into cars. But Phil was also an attorney, which meant that he was intelligent, financially stable, and had a nice-looking mode of transportation. So what if I wasn't into cars? I could learn. Plus, he seemed to meet my profile standards almost perfectly. Oh, not my online profile, my dating profile. When I was 16, my mother made me create a dating profile. I'm not sure if any of you ever had to make one, but for those of you who might not know what it is, a profile is it's a list of attributes one would want in a boyfriend or husband, ultimately. At first, I didn't see the point in writing it down because I thought I would know what I wanted and what I didn't. But then I fell in love for the first time, and he broke my heart and taught me a lesson. But when I was 16, I wrote that I wanted a man who would open doors for me, bonus points for car doors. I wrote that he should have a good job and love roller coasters, and be honest and a good listener and a family man. Which is why I was so hopeful with Phil. He seemed to meet the important qualities, though I will admit I wasn't sure I could see myself with a Phil. No offense if your name is Phil. Of course, I put that to the side when he asked me out to dinner. He emailed me and said, Lucy, let's have dinner. Meet me at the Waterfront Ale House at 9. I liked how direct he was. I wasn't sure why I thought he was going to pick me up. I guess I was kind of disappointed when he asked me to meet him there. But then I thought it's New York, right? So transportation is negotiable. I arrived at 9:05, and he wasn't there yet. He arrived 25 minutes later. Didn't say a thing about it. But I decided to brush it off. It's a new age, I told myself. This is casual, Lucy. Be chill. I was able to keep the conversation going for the first 40 minutes or so, nodding and ad-libbing about terrible ref calls and amazing shots, and it seemed to be going great. It wasn't until he reminded me that we had a conversation online 2 days before, where I told him how much I loved cars too. I'm not proud of lying. In my defense, I was on my computer, so if you asked me anything specific, I could just look it up, okay? So then he asked me to compare two cars. I know that one was called a Spiker, and the other reminded me of Steve Martin. In any case, I had no idea what I did. So I did what any smart, uncomfortable girl would do. I went to the bathroom. I excused myself and I said I'd be right back to answer his question. I walked into the bathroom and I pulled out my iPhone, and the internet wouldn't work. I tried to join the wireless, and they had little locks on them, and I didn't know the passwords. So now, I have no answer. I can't find service, and the other women are just watching me panic. I went into the furthest stall, and I'm walking around, searching for signal, and finally, there was more signal. Over the toilet. So there I was, standing on that toilet seat. I know. There's no way I was going back out there without the answer to that question. So, I'm rushing to type in Spiker car engine when all of a sudden he texts me asking, everything okay? So then I start to text him back when he texts me again and the stupid vibration startled me and I dropped my phone. So I dove my hand. In that found my phone at the bottom, yanked it out in hopes that it was still working. It wasn't. So now I have no answer for this guy, and the women are just staring at me. I'm mortified. Damp. I walked out as if I was about to go to my own hanging. Why did I think the internet would help me find love? Before there was technology like that, a man would have to notice a girl and find a way to introduce himself and then ask if he could call her. Imagine learning someone's name and contacting them through an operator on a phone that was attached to a wall. If you've ever seen Meet Me in St. Louis with Judy Garland.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, good. Okay, so if you've seen it. All right, if you haven't, there's this scene where she tries to convince Katie the maid to have dinner an hour early because her sister is expecting a long-distance phone call from Warren Sheffield, the man she hopes will propose to her. Now, obviously, times have changed. And that movie may be 70 years older than I am. But I can relate more to that than to one where someone must become a vampire in order to have a happy ending. I wonder what relationships will be like in 30 years. People won't actually be dating at all. No one will pick you up and take you out to dinner when they could just go to their living room and press a button on a device and see you as a hologram. A hologram. There's nothing more romantic than setting up a time to meet online. And maybe, if our holograms touch, we can imagine we feel something. And then we can have hologram dinner dates, and hologram Valentine's Day, and even a hologram marriage proposal. We won't even have to leave our houses to have a relationship. So much for looking forward to the end of the night and the goodnight kiss. Who am I kidding? Kiss isn't even enough now. If a guy actually walks you to your door, that's a miracle in and of itself. If they did, they probably parked the car thinking they're going upstairs. I know I'm old-fashioned. I would sit on the couch next to my mom and watch Audrey Hepburn eat ice cream next to Gregory Peck in Rome and think to myself, I can't wait to be in love when I grow up. And now, here I am, grown up, and there is no one singing and tap dancing in the rain because they kissed me. Okay, I've imagined. Never, it's too embarrassing. I can't. Okay, fine. I have imagined for myself my top 3 kissing scenarios. But to understand the full effect, you have to see the book first. I've made this over the years, and even now I'll add to it if ever I find something really special. There is something about collaging that is so fun. Okay. I have pictures of my favorite actresses that inspire me, and pictures of my favorite scenes from my favorite movies, too. You open the book, and of course, you have the title and the table of contents. But then you turn the page, and that's where the fun begins. Okay. The page on the right is always a picture from a favorite scene in a movie, and the page on on the left has the movie title and all my favorite lines that were spoken. The first kissing scenario is on page 7. And it is known, this one, okay? This one is from Now Voyager with Betty Davis.
Yes.
And so Paul Henry says to her, "My darling, you're crying." And Betty Davis throws herself in his arms, her tears in his jacket. I'm such a fool. Such an old fool. These are only tears of gratitude. An old maid's gratitude for the crumbs on the... And then he grabs her and pulls her away to look at her and says, "Don't talk like that." And then she looks at him and says, "You see, no one's ever called me darling before." And then he kisses her then and there before she can even finish her sentence. The second kissing scenario is on page... Oh, well, I already did that one. But second kissing scenario is one of my favorites because it is known as one of the most intimate and erotic kisses. I'm talking about Notorious with Cary Grant and Ingrid Bergman. It has this reputation because at the time there was a production code that banned on-screen kisses that lasted more than 3 seconds. So, what Hitchcock did was he had the actors disengage every 3 seconds and then murmur and nuzzle until they started back up again. Ingrid Bergman walked with Cary Grant around the room for 2.5 minutes, kissing and nuzzling him wherever they went. By the phone, when he wanted to check her messages, up until they had to leave to go to work, and then he left and she stood by the door, leaned against it, totally captivated. Oh, goodness. There's a picture called War's End Kiss. This is the third scenario. It's of this soldier who is gripping this woman so tightly as he dips and kisses her in the middle of Times Square. Here, look. Have you seen it? You have. It's so good. Right? Look, have you seen it? Oh, here, look. Take it. Look. Have you seen it? Oh, good. Oh, good. You guys are surprising me so much. Okay. I want to be kissed like that. Of course, I did learn that that soldier didn't even know that woman. He was in a bar, and he heard the war ended, and he went into the street and kissed every nurse he could find while the photographer followed him. What's funny is he actually ended up marrying the woman behind him in the picture. They were on their first date. In an interview I read, the woman who he ended up marrying said that she wasn't bothered by it, but did say that in all the time that they had been married, he's never kissed her like that. That's the thing. I don't want that to happen to me. I don't want to settle. I don't want to long for a love that seems non-existent, but I do. Romance is slowly draining from our society, and once it's gone, well then what does a woman have to look forward to? An independent, career-driven life? That sounds great during the day. But what happens when it gets cold at night? Just you in your bed, watching an affair to remember for the umpteenth time. Now, don't get me wrong, I can watch Cary Grant repeatedly. It's that kind of love. Deborah Carr sacrifices herself for his happiness, and he still finds a way to get to her. It's that kind of embrace that you don't see anymore. In movies now, they just jump right to the sex, right? Because sex sells, I've heard. How sad. These movies, which I hold in such high esteem, have no sex scenes in them. It didn't mean that those characters didn't want to do it, but they left it to your imagination, and that was enough to get the point across and be effective. The other day, I was watching the very first episode of the Dick Van Dyke Show, and he and his wife share this sweet, intimate kiss. And then he pulls her away to look at her and says, "How do you do it?" And she looks at him and says, "Oh, darling, I'm a woman." And then she kisses him, looks at him, she takes off her pearls, and walks past the camera. His eyes lit up, his jaw dropped, and all she did was take off her pearls. How about taking a break from the Facebook, just for a week? Huh? Sit in the wonderful silence of a library. Stop with the twitting! We cannot let the past and what it represents be forgotten. Let's save the romance. Ladies, let's be stubborn like Katharine Hepburn in the Philadelphia story. And I don't know about you, but I want to be the woman that all the men want to work to get. I want to be seen as the prize. The prize of loving me. Men expect certain things nowadays that were just unheard of years ago. And women have just gone with the change, making it easy for them. Because that's how they think they have to behave in order to be loved. But it's not fair for those of us who are waiting for someone to be different. You know what? I may be waiting a while, but I'm not going to feel bad about it anymore. I want to take long walks and sit under trees. And you know that feeling when your hand bumps into that person? I want someone to grab my hand. I want to learn about someone's dreams and goals because I want someone to care about mine. And I want to slow dance to Frank Sinatra. If someone could just miss me, that would be awesome. I just want to be important to someone. Not an afterthought. Not a text. Not a Twitter. A living, breathing, holding, hugging, kissing, all important to someone. And I want my someone to be all of those things to me. I am a prize. And I want a prize. And I'll wait.